Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and it has been reported by Greg Allman of FoxSports.com that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not picking up the fifth-year option of outside edge rushing linebacker Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who literally turns 25 today. Happy birthday to Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. What a crappy birthday gift. But this is news that has dropped regardless, and it is something that we need to talk about because Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, he did just turn 25 years old today. Congratulations to him. And he's now entering the final year of his contract with the Bucs. Now, JTS was taken with the 32nd overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, and this is the prove it year for him, right? We take a look at his first 3 years in the NFL. Year number one, he had 4 sacks, he had 5 tackles for loss, 10 quarterback hits, and 3 passes defended, starting in only 6 games that year. Not necessarily a bad year for a rookie. Then in year number 2, he started 16 games, and the stats didn't get much better. He had 4 sacks, he had 2 passes defended, he had 6 tackles for loss, and 14 quarterback hits. So, all in all, some things got a little bit better, some things got a little bit worse, but overall things still stayed pretty mediocre, and he played a whole heck of a lot more in year number 1 or in year number 2 than he did in year number 1, so not a great look in his second year. Then in year number 3, he started in 12 games and put up a little bit better stats in some categories, but then worse stats in other categories yet again. He had 5 sacks, the most he's ever had in his career so far up to this point. 1 fumble recovered, 1 forced fumble, but 1 pass deflection only, the lowest in his career so far to this point. 7 tackles for loss, the most in his career to this point, but only 1 more. And 7 quarterback hits, the lowest in his career to this point. So, all things considered, and I hate to say this for a guy on his birthday, but Joe Tryon-Shoyinka's had a rough go. He has not necessarily had the career that the Buccaneers and I think a lot of Bucs fans envisioned him having so far to this point. I think right now, going into year number 4, the expectation for not just the Bucs fan base, but a lot of, I imagine, people in the Bucs front office and coaching staff was that JTS would be the leader of this pass rush room right now, especially after you got rid of Shaq Barrett in the offseason. He was released. He then went to the Miami Dolphins. You need a leader in that room now, and the Bucs don't really have one, and that is in part because of a guy like JTS just not being able to put it all together and fully step up to the occasion. So yeah, this is a prove it year for JTS in a lot of different ways, just not to showcase that he can be a guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going forward, but also possibly that he can be a guy in the NFL going forward. Now, I do think that he would land with another team if he were to go into free agency next offseason, but I don't think he'd be a full-time starter. He would more likely be a rotational type of guy going forward. So you want to see him improve. You want to see him grow as a player, as a leader of this room now, because he's the third most senior player on this team behind Anthony Nelson, who is a rotational pass rusher, and Randy Gregory, who is also a rotational pass rusher. So in terms of all the guys who are on this team currently, JTS, I believe, has logged the most reps the past 2 years. So he's kind of the de facto leader of the room right now, and going forward, you want to see if he can solidify that role, not just with leadership, but especially with his play as well, because the Bucs aren't picking up his 5th-year option, and that speaks volumes as to what they view this room as going forward and how they view JTS going forward as well. You know, they're going to give him this last year, and if it works out, cool. They'll probably be happy to extend him on some type of deal. If it doesn't work out, seems like the Bucs are very content to let him move on and find another place to where he can possibly fit better and maybe finally find some traction in his career. I was going to say regain some traction, but folks, there hasn't been a lot of traction there in the first place. So I'm rooting for JTS. You know, now he is literally in a contract year, literally in a prove it, you have to prove it now type of situation. And we're going to see if he can rise up to the occasion. I'm certainly rooting for him. But let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.